Henry Horror here. With me always is the punk rock brother man, Mr. Johnny Noise. How you doing, John?
Good. Hey, Nurse Channel, we have a really special show for you tonight. Once again, Henry's out there working his magic and getting us some really cool guests. I think you're going to enjoy this one. Henry will do the introductions.
All right. Tonight we have a special guest that took time out from haunting her abbey to be on our show. She's a San Antonio sensation. We'd like to welcome Jessicathenun to the show. How are you doing?
Hey, Jessica.
Hi, how are you guys doing? Thank you guys for having me.
No problem, no problem. So let's go ahead
You're
and
welcome.
jump into this real quick. So what inspired you to become an entertainer?
Wow. Well, I've always loved horror since I was a child. I was actually 6 years old the first time that I saw The Exorcist. One
Wow.
of my parents let me watch it. I'm not gonna tell you which one, but yeah, he did that. And so anyway, I always loved Halloween. I was just fascinated that one day of the year where you could be anything or anybody. And most of us, we come from a dysfunctional family, so or families or history or whatever.
Mhm.
But Halloween was just my favorite. So even as later on, I had kids of my own, I would dress them scary, and I say, "You want to win this contest? You got to, everybody wants to be a Power Ranger. Let's do Dracula, or something, cool." So my kids also grew up with a horror scene in the house, and so I've always loved it. And one year, it was in 2024, it was in October, I got invited to a Comic Con, big Texas Comic Con. And they're like, "You could dress up as whatever." And I said, "Really?" I said, "Okay." And I had already seen the Nun movies. They're my favorite. They really scared the heck out of me. And anyway, I said, "You know what? I'm going to do the Nun." So I did the Nun, I did the whole getup, and I went to the Comic Con, and I swear, like over 300 people wanted pictures. It was just nonstop. That was my first glimpse
Wow.
of, how it felt to be like celebrity status. And even after the show, I went to eat at a restaurant, and people had bought me a drink, and another lady gave me a 20 and said, here's for your next one. It was just crazy. All the workers wanted pictures with me. So that was my first glimpse, my first taste of wow, this is actually pretty cool. And then last year I went to the fiesta. It was the last day, and my son was like, "Mom, we should go to fiesta." And we had just shot some videos at the cemetery, so I was dressed, and we showed up, and it was nonstop dancing for 3 hours. 3 hours, just everybody wanted to dance with a nun. It was insane. And then my son was like, "Mom, you know what? You should really just start doing this. We'll start doing videos." And then sure enough, we just started doing videos, and then people would ask me, "Do you do appearances?" And it just took off from there. It's been quite a
Wow.
journey.
Wow.
Just in one
Yes,
year, it's been quite a journey.
I was about to say it sounds like a heck of a journey, right? And it just um, from the start of what you're doing here, it sounds like it just immediately struck a chord with everybody, I guess, who comes in contact with you.
Well, unbeknownst to me and my son, he's the one that told me. So there is a nun in Mexico, and I guess she rides like a ride at the fair and dances in the middle of it, which I had never heard of her. And now there's several in Mexico that I've seen videos. I come across videos. But anyway, my son was like, "Mom, they thought you were the nun from Mexico. That's why they wanted to dance with you." And I was like, "Well, I'm not the nun from Mexico. I'm, the nun from San Antonio." And I'm just like, "Well, we'll just do our thing here in the States, and there's enough love to go around for everybody." I've seen nuns in California, doing their thing, and all over. So to the more the merrier, I say.
Right. Wow. Wow.
That is
Hey,
awesome.
you got some questions, Henry? To
Yeah. So speaking of horror and The Exorcist, what is your favorite horror movie?
Oh, by all means, it is the Nun. So the Nun 1 and the Nun
Okay.
2, when I went to see them, scared the living lights out of me. And as far as like the old school, like, because horror throughout the years, of course, has changed.
Yes.
Back when I was a kid, of course, Nightmare on Elm Street was super scary.
Yeah, yeah.
All those old school, badass ones, they were always scary to me. But as I've gotten older, it's been hard to really get scared with some of the movies. And The Nun, by far, I fell in love with it. And I was fortunate enough to meet Bonnie Aarons last year, so that was
Uh-huh.
actually another event that was just super amazing. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Wow.
That was actually going to be my next question. As a matter of fact,
Oh,
if,
okay.
yeah, I was going to ask if you had ever met Bonnie Aarons.
I got to meet her, and she was so sweet. I was in my nun costume, and she wanted to take a picture of me on her phone, which I thought was so neat because I'm like, here I'm in line, to get my stuff signed by this woman, and she saw me. She's like, "Oh my gosh, can I take a picture of you?" So I thought that was amazing. She really loved it. She thought I did an amazing job, and she signed so many of my things that I had for her to sign, and she was just a sweetheart. It was so surreal to meet the person that I dress up as, and she's in one of my favorite movies. So yeah, it was a really amazing experience. And I never knew Comic Cons. I had never done it before. I've never really thought about, meeting, people from the movies. But now this past year that I've been going to more events, I just think it's really awesome that, people around can go and see the actors and the actresses that they're in love with or that they grew up with, and be able to get their signatures and take pictures. It's just an amazing experience. I would definitely, tell people, hey, if you've never gone, go, because it's quite an amazing experience. And I
Oh
have a
wow.
big picture. You can't see it, but so she was kind of doing this to all the people when she was posing. And when I got up to her and I was like, "Well, can I do that to you?" And she says, "Oh yeah." And I was like, "Well, can you look like you're scared?" She says, "Yes, yes." So I actually have the picture where I'm doing this to her and she's like scared. So I have a big, huge poster of it here in my living room because I just thought it was such a neat thing that she did.
That is
Oh, that's
awesome. Have you ever
that's
seen a movie called Mulholland Drive? It's a David Lynch
No,
flick. No? Okay.
no.
I'll just talk about this real quick and then we can get back to it. But there's a movie called Mulholland Drive that's a David Lynch movie. Now David Lynch is the guy that did like the Elephant Man and Eraserhead. And
Uh-huh.
Bonnie Aarons has a small part, very small part in that movie where she plays. I think she's actually credited as uh, hobo dumpster monster or something like that. Where this guy keeps having this dream where he keeps seeing this really weird looking man, and he goes to the place and he meets his friend there or whoever the guy is, and he says, I can see him. He's back there. So they go
Mhm.
around and they go down the stairs, and this weird looking hobo, but it's Bonnie Aarons and all this.
Bonnie. Wow.
Yeah, and the thing is, she comes out into the frame real quick. The guy sees her, he faints, and then they pan back as she's going back behind where the dumpster is. So it's
I'm
real
gonna have to
quick. I
check
mean,
that out.
it's really literally, and it just looks so creepy. I swear.
Wow. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, Mulholland Drive. That's the name
oh
of the
wow.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. I think not only the nun like the horror movies stuff like that, but for me it's the clowns. That that's what kind of
Gets you.
Sets, yeah, that draws me in, the evil clown thing. It's like, oh, okay. I mean, you can go back to it. You can go back to Stephen King all the way up
Mhm.
to current day. There's always something about a clown and a sword or whatever. Just I'm out. I'm good. So
That's funny.
yeah,
A lot
yeah,
of
yeah.
people
It's
are like
crazy.
that. If I mean, I've heard several times. I've had, I have friends that are cosplayers that are clowns, and I would tell them, oh well, hey, let's go into HB. We were doing some event or something. They're like, oh no, I can't go in like this, and I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, they let you go in as the nun. I go shopping as the nun. Like I go in to restaurants and eat. I go everywhere. The only one place that I wasn't allowed to go in as the nun was Six Flags. And of course, they had the Conjuring, their whole house, Conjuring house and everything there. But they didn't let me go in, dressed as the nun. So I said, okay, but everywhere else I've gone, I go to Walmart, I go to HEB, and people will stop there and ask, can we take a picture? So I've never said, no, you can't come in here. I've never had that. And with clowns, it happens all the time. So
Really?
yeah,
Wow. Wow.
Uh,
it's weird.
See, that tells you because clowns are really creepy. That's all I gotta say.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Speaking of,
Yeah, you got this.
yeah, uh,
Yeah,
um,
go ahead, Ernie.
yeah, I, I was, I was just thinking. Speaking of clowns and then the costumes and the makeup, about how long does it take you to do the makeup and get into the costume and all that?
So in the beginning, when I first started, it took me like about 2 hours just for my face. And it was a learning process. Um, it's funny because looking back at like my first stuff, I'm like, oh, everybody said I look so good, but I thought I was like, oh, it's horrible. Because I've gotten better at it, and I've gotten, I've invested in better makeup, um, and I just feel like, I got better at it to where it looks a lot better. And now it takes me just to paint my face about an hour, to dress up and get like from beginning to end about an hour and a half. Yeah. So it's
Oh
gotten better
wow.
because I'm doing it, almost every weekend. This month alone I had 3 events. I had a graduation college party last night. It was the first time I used my shop cart, which looks like an old antique. It's so cool. Everybody loved it. It was a hit. So in the bottom of it, it's glass contained on the bottom, and I have the demon baby in there with disco lights. And then on the top, we have all the shots, and I go in there. It's the first time I got to use my shop cart, and it was a hit. Everybody loved it. So yeah, it takes about an hour and a half now to get completely ready. Um, it's become a lot easier, thank goodness.
Right.
But yeah, looking
Right.
back, I think, oh my goodness, everybody thought my makeup was so good back then, and to me, I'm my worst critic. I thought it was worse. I thought it was bad, but but yeah, I've gotten better at it, and it's a lot easier to do now.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, it's a process like anything else when you're getting ready, and now that
Yes,
you've, you've been doing it, but you still want to get it right each time. That I'm sure you want to have a certain consistency to your look. So
exactly.
you don't want to just throw on anything. It's okay. I'm going to go out and do my whatever. So
Yeah,
you have to now. You really have to because now everybody knows who you are. You really have to bring it every
yeah,
single time.
you're
So
correct there. A lot of
yeah.
people, they I've been mistaken for a mask. They thought it was a mask. And then when they see, they'll get up close and they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, who does your makeup?" And they're usually surprised that I do it myself. And the most question I always get as far as my makeup is, "How do you do your teeth?" So in the beginning, me and my son and my daughter, we were kind of like, we thought about doing some fake teeth, but um, my son was big on being able to communicate and talk to people. He told me all the time, you want to be able to talk to your fans, and so I ended up buying. Uh, they actually have teeth paint. So if you could
Oh
see,
wow. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I literally I'll paint my teeth and people ask me all the time, how do you do your teeth? And I tell them, yeah, it's teeth paint. And it comes in like a little nail polish bottle and with a brush and everything. And yeah, and it stays on really good. It stays on really well unless I eat. If I go out and eat a steak, yeah, I
Yeah.
lose my teeth. But but for the most part, yeah, my makeup stays on. I mean, I could go dancing. Last summer I was dancing at the flea market, Petite flea market, and it was like, 100-degree weather, and I could be dancing,
Ooh,
everything, and my makeup would last, my teeth would last. So um it's really good that I've invested in better quality makeup. Yeah. But
right,
yeah,
right.
my teeth, I'm glad I paint my teeth because, I do like to interact with people and talk to people
Mhm.
and stuff. So it's important for me to be able to do that. And with a bunch of big bulky teeth, you remember back in the day, those
Yeah,
vampire teeth, you'd
Yeah.
that's not gonna
slop
work.
into the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm
Wow.
glad that I was able to find this alternative.
Yeah. So do you before you put it on your makeup, do you put some kind of base on to like protect your skin? You know what I'm saying? Because you do this a lot,
I
or is
do.
what you're using a good quality?
I use good quality for after I take off everything. So
Hmm,
a lot of people don't know this, but prior to me doing this makeup, I never really wore makeup. So I don't do like the contouring and like I don't shop at
Yeah.
Ulta and all those places. I've never been that girly girl. So when I started doing this, one of my friends was like, "You really need to invest in some good stuff, aftercare." So
Hmm.
I have like a 4-step process. We went to Ulta and I found this really good stuff. Makeup remover, it's amazing because I'll take like 3 squirts and I'll rub it all over my face and it just comes all off. And then I have to wash and then I have to tone and I have this oil stuff that I put on too. So yeah, I do a lot of aftercare for my face because we got to take care of our face. Yeah.
Well, yeah, yeah, because you're with all that stuff on there, you're kind of uh, uh,
Yes.
you're blocking your face right now. Nothing's breathing. You know what I mean? It's all covered with this makeup, and you have to.
Exactly. And people ask me,
Right.
the hardest thing, because I'll still sweat, but the
Mm.
hardest thing is just remembering not to wipe, not to like, but I've
Yeah,
never
yeah.
had that happen because I know my face is painted. So, but I'll just sweat. Like I don't worry about it. It doesn't drip. It doesn't run my makeup. I don't know how to sweat, actually. That's a good question. That's probably like a scientific question. Like, how does it
Right.
sweat,
Yeah,
through the makeup?
yeah, yeah. Wow, wow. That's pretty wild. Okay, back over to him. I know he's got a cache of questions for you.
John, maybe that's where I messed up because there's a couple of we did a couple of episodes last year where I painted my face and I just invested in white and black grease paint. And I would just wash it off with warm water. And one time I woke up and my eye was swollen, like swollen shut, like I had a sty or something in there. But I think I
Wow.
got it from
Mm,
the makeup, and we had a we had a show to do that Sunday, as a matter of fact, and my eye was still swollen, so I ran and got one of those medical eye patches, but it looked like a pirate. It looked like a pirate
That's
patch.
funny.
And we interviewed. That was the day that we interviewed Alan Danziger that played
Alan
Jerry from the
Danziger.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I had to
Yeah.
explain to him. I said, "Oh, about the eye patch. I got a sty. I think it was from this makeup. Blah blah blah." And he goes, "Oh, so you got a sty in the eye, huh?" I was like, "Yeah." But
Wow.
the audience, though, like some of the people that watch the show and they see me at work, they're like, "Dude, what's up with the eye patch, man? It looked badass. You look like some demented pirate or that dude from Escape from New York."
How funny.
I was
Yeah,
like,
people don't realize, like, once I go, like last night, I had the performance and then, I come home and it's not like I can just come home and take off a mask and, my outfit and like it's the whole process too in itself afterwards because I can't
Mm,
the hardest part the hardest part, and I've gotten better at it, but because I had to learn the hard way, the hardest part of this whole getup was my contacts because I never wore contacts.
Mm.
And I would be there, I kid you not, like 10 minutes on one eye and 10 minutes on the other. I'd be so frustrated because it would take me forever. And, um, but you have to come home, you have to take the contacts, I have to do all the whole process and everything. And then, some of the makeup, a lot of it will get in my hair because I'll go all the way to my hairline. And so, then I have to shower and everything. So, plus, I'm dancing and everything. So I sweaty and everything. So yeah, of course I have to shower, but yeah, it's not like I could just come home and, okay, that's it. Because I tell people it's literally, if people hire me for 1 hour, it's literally 1 hour of cardio straight
Wow.
dancing,
Yeah. Yeah.
getting people to go out and dance, hey, come on, come on. And they're dancing and then they're playing, line dancing songs. They're playing cumbias, they're playing country.
Oh my God.
And I tell my kids, it's a good thing your mom knew how to dance, huh? Because this nun thing wouldn't work if I hadn't known how to dance. So, so yeah, it's an hour of cardio. It's you really. I really have to stay fit. I really do hit the gym because it's important to me. As far as a performer to be able to do what I do. Um,
Mm.
like I said, I know my heart is good because I
I was
said,
about to say,
an
yeah,
hour
yeah.
of cardio straight. My heart's got to be really good.
Wow. Yeah. You're human too. You know what I mean? So it's people have to kind of realize that. Look, we can't just drag her around for 2 hours straight and come on over here. You can only do what you can do.
Oh
You know.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, I love it. I love I so my this kind of going off a little bit, but I've been divorced since 2011,
Mm,
and I've dated a few times, but none of the people that I dated or had like longer term relationships, they would ever dance. So I went for years and years without dancing because they didn't dance. And that's one of my passions was dancing. And so when I started doing this, I just thought, how blessed I am that now people, they hire me to go to their events. I get to do Halloween every other weekend or every weekend or however I get to dress up. And then I get to go dance. And I don't need anybody. I don't need to be attached to, husband, boyfriend, whatever. I can go dancing. I'm dancing all the time now. So I love it. It's a blast. I'm very, very fortunate to do what I do.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And
And
you,
my
you know,
kids, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was about to say, obviously you enjoy doing this, and you enjoy, meeting people and entertaining people. You can definitely tell that this is something
Yes.
that is close to you.
It's
So,
definitely a passion of mine. And my kids, I have my adult kids and they're just, to hear them say, man, mom, we love to see that you're living your best life. And that means a lot because, I spent a lot of my time, I was a young mom. So I raised them and then I put myself through the academy. A lot of people don't know I was a cop at one time. I went through the academy. I worked at
oh,
a sheriff's office for 10 years. I was a detective for 8 of those years. And my whole focus was on my kids, trying to raise them and do what I missed out on, because I had a dysfunctional history. So my
mm,
whole focus was on them. And then all of a sudden it's like, here I am. I'm, 40 years old. Not now. I'm older, but back when I was 40, I was like, what do I do now? What do I do? And, so I just focused on my security job and like I said, this past year, I've just been doing what I love to do. And I guess I found my new passion because before it was helping people, when I was an officer,
mhm.
um, it was helping people and now I bring happiness and joy to people, and that to me is the greatest thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like it's very fulfilling. You
Yes.
know, and we certainly understand that from what we do as well. Uh, with our show and then my music and stuff like that. It's something that it's a passion, and
Mm.
people appreciate it, and they react to what you do. So, and that keeps you going, though. It really does. It
Oh
keeps
yeah,
you motivated, keeps you going.
man.
So
I tell people all the time. I said I'm gonna live till I'm 100, and I'm barely almost halfway. I'm a halfway there, so I still have a lot of life to live. And my grandmother is 94, and she is not on
Wow.
any medication. She goes out and gardens. She does all kinds of stuff. Very active, and I think that's the
Hmm.
key is just staying active. You know,
Keep
don't
moving.
don't let yourself go, because then you will end up where you're just fragile and you're not moving around, and it'll get a
Hmm.
hold of you. So I'll be 52 this year, and I feel better now than I did 20 years ago. So
Wow. Wow.
yeah,
That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh, you're still young yet. Wait to get my age.
I am.
Then
I'm catching up. I'm 49, so
he's 49. He's a baby of the group right now. But yeah, so I tell everybody, wait, you haven't felt a real shot of pain yet. Give it another 10 years.
Oh boy.
It's coming. Now it's all on what you do, how you do it, how you feel, how do you present yourself. You know, and like you said, don't surf the couch. Get up
Yes,
and move. Get up and move.
exactly.
And we try to do that every single day. And it it works for the most part. I mean, you're gonna have a little bit of aches and pains anyway, but
Oh yeah.
it gets. But it's certainly worse if you are just sitting watching TV all day every day. You have to get
Mhm.
out and do something.
Yes,
You
be
know,
active.
be active, and then like yourself, you're doing something that for you is very fulfilling, which is
Yes,
great. You know, a lot of people will never know. They do the 9 to 5 grind, and they're miserable. And they just don't know what I guess happiness is to a certain point. Other than okay, it's Friday and I get a day and a half off or 2 days off, and they run amok, and then Monday they drag themselves back to their miserable
yes,
whatever, and people get caught in that rut. I'm fortunate enough not to have done that, uh, but it's tough, and and then of course, like you said, you're happy in what you're doing, and there's just a lot of negativity. I see it. I only work part time, and I see a lot of the people that I work with, and I'm like, you guys are like half my age. You got a whole life ahead of you. You shouldn't be
yeah,
this miserable, you know.
exactly.
So it's good to see someone like yourself doing something that's not only brings you happiness but brings other people happiness as well.
Yes, and that's the most important. I have so many kids, that you would think I have more teenagers and adults that get scared with me than the little kids. And man, the little kids just have my heart. They'll get scared and scream when they first see me, and then later on, I can't get rid of them. They want to be dancing with me, and they're just there, following me, and people are recording it because it's just it's so unique to see, these little ones that just want to be. It's like they want to be around the nun, and
Wow.
that's the part that brings me joy. I just love to see the kids and just to see people in general just happy and having a good time. And I think that's what's important. And I tell people all the time, we don't have a lot of life. It's very short. People think,
Right.
I always tell my kids, they want to think, oh, mom's going to live forever. And it's like we all have that appointment. We just don't know when. And,
Right.
we each have those 2 dates on our headstone when we were born and when we die. And it's what you
Hmm.
do in between that matters. And I tell people one of my friends was like, oh, well, I'd really like to do this. And I'm like, well, do it. Why are you
Right.
waiting? Why wait? Why live with regrets? We're going to be
Hmm.
sitting there when you're 90 something years old. Man, I wish I had done this. No, I don't live that way at all anymore. Not anymore. I learned, everybody learns a lot of things the hard way, but um,
Hmm.
I've learned that, what, if you want to do something, do it. Um, one of my trips I'm going to take at the end of the year, I'm going to Salem. I've always wanted to go to Salem.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll be going there in November, and the nun will be making an appearance over there. And so I think that's going to be super fun, and I'm just like, usually I take a cruise every year, but this year I was like, you know what? I'm going to Salem. I've always wanted to go to Salem, so I'm going to go. And so yeah, sure enough, I booked my stuff and I have it ready to go, and I'm
Oh
just
wow.
super excited. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's very. I never been there, but I've seen different storylines on it and stuff like that. There's a lot of history there, a lot of stuff
Yeah.
that's, so that would be an awesome
It
trip.
is. I'm looking so forward to it. I'm like a kid in a candy store just waiting for it to open. I'm like, hurry up, November. But yeah, it's
Wow.
a Halloween town. I mean, so many great films were filmed
Oh
there.
my God.
It's
Yeah.
just I'm excited.
Well, I think that you'll kind of fit right in.
Mhm.
You go to Salem.
I think so too,
I think
right?
you're gonna fit
Yeah.
right in.
I,
Then someone's gonna come up to you and say, "Oh, shouldn't you be working?" I am. I am working.
Yeah, no. Last year on my cruise, I actually took a cruise in October and I won the Halloween costume contest they had there on the
Mm.
cruise, which was so fun. A bunch of amazing costumes, I swear, but I almost lost to Selena. But yeah, I ended up winning and that was amazing. So it's a lot of fun.
Wow.
Man, this nun gig is just uh
Yeah.
it's gotten me a lot of fun times, I tell you.
That is so awesome.
that is
That is yeah.
yeah, that's fantastic. It's kind of like with the what happened with me and John. We just kind of fell into it because I 2 years ago my mom was had been diagnosed with breast cancer. She's fine now, thank God. She's in remission and doing well. She's been cancer
Mhm.
free for over a year now. So, but
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, yeah, thank you. She she was going through chemotherapy and I was just basically working and coming home. But when I was here at home, I was just like, I've got to do something different. And I was like, I know, I'll start that YouTube channel that I've always wanted to do. So
Yeah.
I started doing that, and it was different things. I would do bass guitar covers. I'd do guitar maintenance, make videos on stuff that I kind of knew what I was doing, and I would share that. And then I said, well, I wanted to have different things. I didn't want my channel to just be one thing. So I started getting that idea. I'd known John already for a good while, and I started getting these ideas. I was like, I'll have people, musicians on, and I'll interview them, and that'll be part of the channel as well. And but the way I did it at the time was really laughable because I would put my cell phone up and put the laptop, and I'd sit next to the cell phone and have the people on my cell phone. And John got a hold. John got a hold of me at the end of the year and said, "Hey, bud,
We gotta fix this.
if I get a program, and if I get a program and we do a show together, can I co-host a show with you? And I was like, yes, immediately.
Oh,
So,
wow. Awesome.
so we started. That's how we got our start. And let me tell you, it's been such an incredible journey.
Been a
Um,
roller coaster. Yeah.
I've we've met so many good people, and I've got so many mementos. I did a book scrapbook video last night because I have these scrapbooks that I've been keeping since we started, and of course all the cool stuff on the wall back here. But the scrapbook is basically everything that wouldn't fit on the wall. But
Yeah.
it's been an incredible journey, and lo and behold, I noticed earlier this year I was like, I quit drinking. Like I was a weekend drinker. Don't get me wrong, but I was like, I haven't drank a beer in like a year. Like it was weird, and it's like, and I have like no desire to. It is. I think it's just because the show keeps me so busy. Because I'm doing this and that, booking people, getting people to come on the show, and got to make sure that this. I mean, I went out and basically bought a planner because we have so many people that thankfully they want to be on. So,
Yeah,
it,
I had to do the same thing.
Yep. So
To
it's
keep track of
fun.
everything.
Yeah.
No, I
Oh
said to
yeah,
keep track of everything, I had to get a planner as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
yeah, yeah. Like you said, drinking. I know I was never a big drinker myself. Yeah, when I was in the military, yeah, I had a couple of drinks, but I get it. But it is time consuming. But the feeling you get for going out to a club or going out to a bar or whatever, you that for the maybe camaraderie or to have conversations, whatever. We do this here, you know. This for me, I know from Henry as well. We talked to just so many different people. I didn't think it was going to go the way it went. I had no
Mhm.
idea. I'm a musician. I play in different bands and stuff, and which is fine. And I appreciate the fact that I'm able to do that. But this has been by far I mean, to meet people like yourself and a bunch of musicians and actors and actresses, and I mean, it's been on and on and on. And sometimes we sit back and we're like, wow, we did not expect this. We truly did not. We did not expect this to happen. But it's very those are fulfilling, but it's just real interesting. It's real nice to sit and let people express themselves in their art, their music, or their acting, and then tell everybody else about them, and then we get to display that to the people who watch our channel, and I
Yeah.
think it just works out. So we're very appreciative of everybody who's
Very.
come on thus far, and it just where it goes, I don't know. We have our seatbelts on, just like yourself with what you're doing. You know, you're riding a roller coaster, so you just keep on riding that thing till it's done.
Yes,
So
that's true. When I first started this, I was like, oh, I want to be TikTok famous, but then it was just like it's just turned into the love that I have. And when people call and say, "Hey, I want to book you for my quinceañera, or I want to surprise my daughter with a graduation, gift." And you know, that's why when I go, I give my all, because these people, they literally hired me, of all entertainers that they could get, that no, they
mhm.
wanted Jessica the Nun there. And so it wasn't even about TikTok famous anymore. I love my fans and I love the people that follow me and everything. And, I don't pay TikTok to promote anything. I've done everything just me. In the beginning, it was my son helped me with my videos, and now it's just me just continuing to post and do videos. And, but according to my son, I was doing really well in the first 6 months. And I'm like, awesome, but
Wow.
it's not really even about TikTok famous anymore. It's just about, uh, bringing happiness and joy to people, and just the fact that they want me at their special occasion. That says a lot to
Mhm.
me. And that makes me happy. And that's why I go and I give it my all and I perform and I have a blast. Sorry, guys, I do drink. Probably
Well,
more,
I drink. Yeah, I
probably
do. I
more
mean, I
bad
have a.
now than when I was younger. But safety, of course. But
Yeah.
I go to these events and they're like, oh, they want me to take a shot with them, or I'll take a shot with the bride and groom, and you
Yeah, yeah,
know,
oh, yeah, yeah.
so it's all fun. I always tell my kids I drink more now than I did when I was, in my 20s and 30s. Um, but social drinking, it's not really like a problem or anything. But I hear you
Mhm.
guys talking about it. I'm like, man, I'm the evil one over here. Just
No, 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 no,
No,
drinking.
I
I
mean,
no,
mean,
not.
I could have a drink if I wanted to. I just had noticed that it was something that I didn't do anymore. Like it was
yeah,
bad. It was like I didn't snap to it until
that's good though.
that moment. I was like,
Mm.
oh, I mean, I could go. Yeah, I could go to the store right now and get a 6 pack or whatever, and it wouldn't be an issue. But I mean, it's just it was just something I noticed that I didn't
If
do
you don't
anymore.
have, yeah, if you don't have the need for it, then why even entertain it?
Oh yeah, exactly,
You
Yeah,
know?
exactly, exactly. Yeah.
it just it just puts me to sleep. Like if it's wintertime and I got the fireplace going and I have a sip of wine or a glass of wine or something,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I am done. or my drink of choice, if I do have anything, is a Di Serona, and it's just and you got to be careful. It's like it tastes. It's very addictive. It's like a very
Yeah.
addictive taste to that stuff. But and again, because I don't 95% of the time I don't do anything. That the 5% of the time I do have a drink or a glass or whatever. Um, I'm a lightweight. I have to admit
Right.
that I'm a total lightweight. I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done. Done. Yep. But like Henry was saying, it's we stay pretty busy, and there's a lot of other stuff that we do, entertainment wise. We podcast. I'm in a recording studio. I try to get some live shows out here and there. So, like yourself, there's always something going on in your life, and I think that's the true thing for me. That's what people who are not entertainers or musicians or artists or whatever, that's what they're missing out on, I think, anyway. you
Yeah.
know um and I think it's a shame in a way. um
Yeah. It is.
it really is, to express yourself and have fun and chase your passion. Yeah, you got to bang your 9 to 5 job, and you got to clock in a little bit because you need money, whatever the case is. I get it.
Hmm.
But that's just a means to allow you to do what you want to do, that makes you happy,
Exactly.
and that's how it is for myself too. It's like, yeah, I work a few hours here and there, but doing this and my music makes me happy. So and it's just it's great that you are doing you're doing this full time. I'm taking it.
No, actually, so
You're still working, okay?
I'm fortunate enough that I have my full-time job. I do security work, but I do
Okay,
it from I put in my 40 hours from Tuesday to Friday. So I'm off Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays. So that
awesome. Yeah.
allows me to do all this that I'm doing as my side hustle. Yeah. So
Wow,
that's
wow,
the good
cool.
thing. Yeah, that's why I love the schedule that I have, because
Hmm.
it allows me to do this on the weekends. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And you have to set yourself up for that too. I'm fortunate to be semi-retired. I retired early from the military, so
Mhm.
but I still have to work. We're not
Yeah.
rich, but I don't have to work as much. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I make up a little bit of money, work 3 days a week, and then the rest of the time I'm wide open. I'm like, let's go. So
Yeah.
when we had the idea, I'm like, oh heck yeah, let's do this, and it just works out, and it keeps us pretty tied up. We've
Yes.
got to
That's
say,
good though.
keeps us
That's
pretty
good.
tied up. Yeah, yeah. But it's great to, like I said, to have folks like you on, uh, and be able to express yourself and tell everybody what you're doing, and maybe you inspire somebody. You know, you don't have to dress up as the nun. You could do something else. But
Exactly.
it's the idea. Do something. You know what
Yes.
I mean? You know what I mean? You go out and you can reach out to somebody or touch somebody or make somebody smile, whatever it is. Do something. You
Hmm.
know, and that's, I think a lot of that has been lost um, on the the generation that just pushes their buttons on their phones. And don't get me wrong, social media has its place, and we certainly do use it. Just like yourself, um, but there has to be that give and take a little bit too.
You have to have
Get
a
out.
balance. Yes.
You have to have a balance. Get out a little bit. Use your social media to promote what you're going to do with people. You
Yes.
know, and I think people skills have been diminished greatly, and you can see that, and it's a shame. You know,
Yeah.
so, but and then we have people like you who are out there just getting it, and I think it's great. I think it's really
Thank
really
you
great.
so
Yeah,
much. My
yeah.
son put it the best way. I remember him telling me, he says, Mom, there's consumers of social media, and then there's creators. And he said, and you're a creator. Because
Correct.
I don't spend hours on, social media. I don't, it was very hard in the beginning, because one thing that my son told me, he said, Mom, remember I did a video in the beginning. It was so funny. I don't know if you ever heard of the dancing trucker.
Yeah, yeah,
Did
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Okay, so I did a video like him and I did it at HEB. And so I did his dance and I was dancing and then he ended up hearting it and liked it and shared it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was so excited. So then months later, my son was telling me, he says, Mom, remember how you felt when the dancing trucker he hearted your video and then he shared it and liked it and everything. He goes, remember that feeling? He goes, that's what you need to remember about your fans. It means a lot to them when you comment. It means a lot to them when you heart, when you're acknowledging them. And I was like, you know what? Okay, you're right. Because for me, it was hard to get on social media all the time. I had to learn
Hmm.
TikTok, you know, because as
Hmm.
an older
Hmm.
person, we're not. I was still on Facebook, you know, I was still stuck on Facebook. So
Hmm.
now I make it a point and it's like another job in itself because I have to
It
make sure
is.
every
It
day
is.
I go on there and I check who liked my videos, who do I respond to, let me heart all these people. So um that's one thing that my son did instill in me and he says, Mom, make sure that you stay on top of that. And I do, I really do. I make sure on every comment, you know, every something that a heart that I get, I will heart them, the heart their comment, because I
Hmm.
really do appreciate, you know, they take the time to comment, and it means a lot to them. I've had so many people, and I'm so grateful that I haven't experienced negativity because I've seen a
Hmm.
lot of negative with certain, you know, other people, other creators, and I've had nothing but love and positivity. So it means a lot to me that they take the time, they watch my videos, they comment, and I've had comments where they're like, "Girl, I needed to hear this, you know, today," or "Girl, I love your videos. I wait every day to see, you know, what you're gonna post," and you know, it's just so much love, and I really do. I am so grateful for the people that do follow me and watch my content and you know and comment. So it is important to me to stay on top of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, it is a job. Doing this is definitely a job. Henry can contest to that.
Yeah.
We're constantly talking, texting, whatever, all the time, and trying to get videos together, post production, pre production. You know, we sit here for 45 minutes, sometimes or an hour before the show starts, tweaking this, doing that. Are we set? We're good. It's a lot, you know,
Yeah.
and there's a lot that goes into something as, I don't want to say as small as we are, but as you know, as low tech as we are. Yeah, I have the programs and I have a studio and we do our stuff and everything, but you know, I don't. We're pretty low tech overall.
Yeah.
Excuse me, and but it still takes a lot, you know,
Mhm.
to put this together. So and people, some people will look at this and say, "Ah, well, you're wasting your time. You only got 500 uh, views on your, you know, the last show or what." I don't care if two people see it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If one person, and I'm sure, you know, you feel the same way. If one person sees one of our interviews with whomever and say, "Hey, that was, I thought that was cool," or whatever the case is, or more importantly, the one of our guests comes, "Hey, had a great time," you know, and they share it with all their friends, whatever. You know, it's more important that our guests have a positive reaction or a positive time on our show than getting 10,000 views for
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
anyway. You
Yeah.
know, because yeah, you want to reach as many people as possible, but I think it's quality over quantity.
Yes.
That's how I justify kind of, okay, like our reels get an average of 500 to 600 views on the reels, you know, which is fine. Look, that's fine with me. You know, that's
Mhm.
500 people that looked at our stuff. But the comments we get from our guests to me is more important uh, uh, than anything else, than who happened to see it. You know,
Yeah.
so that's kind of the thing. But you seem to portray, you have a very, like a very positive persona here. You know what I mean. So it's not this. You dress up and you know, you say it's Halloween every weekend and you do your thing, but you seem very upbeat, positive. You're using this not just to go, ah, scared of kitties, and you know,
Yeah.
they don't run, you know,
Exactly.
you're So you're approaching this a bit different, even though you're dressing a certain way. You're using it for more entertainment purposes, and you're promoting more positive things.
Yes. And it says, it gives a clear message. And, only twice have I've been approached, um, by somebody that, obviously was religious and try to tell me, oh, well, you must not be a Christian, because, why would you dress that way? And, or do you even believe in God? And I told them, look, I said, this is exactly, it doesn't matter how a person is dressed. Uh, who are we to judge? I'm the nicest person down to earth that anybody could ever meet, and um, instantly you want to judge me because of how I'm dressed. I said, this is an example because there could be a person that's full of tattoos and has the biggest heart and is helping people and feeding, people in the street or whatever. I said, we cannot be that type of person. I said, and you, sir, I said, I do believe in God. I do believe in God. And if it wasn't for him, I would not be blessed. If he had a problem with what I was doing, I would know. I said, but you, sir, you're judging me just based on how I look. And that's the problem with the world nowadays. You can't
Mm-hmm.
do that. You can't judge people just by how they look on the outside, because they could be the best person and the biggest heart. And, that's a message that I told two people that have approached me with that. And I
Wow.
tell them, you know
Yeah.
what? God bless you. I hope, you live your life and you're happy or whatever. I said, but it's not going to stop me from doing what I'm doing. And
Yeah.
I have no remorse. I don't feel bad. My children, who are absolutely the most incredible people to me, those are the ones that, uh, if they had said, hey mom, or whatever, but they're so proud of me. They love what I do. They've gone out with me before. We've gone walking downtown San Antonio. Um, so they love it. I love it. And a lot of times in my videos, I don't know if I can cuss on here, but a lot of times I'm just like, I don't give a F, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. You do what you do, I'm gonna do what I do. And that's how I
Right.
see it.
Yeah. 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 You're right. You're right. You can't judge a book by its cover. You're 100% right. I'm a little bit older than you, and I'm still I play punk rock guitar, and I'm pretty tattooed up, and whatever. And people look and it's like, well, no, and I'm a Boy Scout. I spent my whole life in the military. I help people. If someone dropped $1, I'd be like, hey, is this yours? That's just who I am inside. This is just who I play.
Yeah.
The music is just what I do, but it's just like what you portray, and you put on your costume, and but that's not defining who you are inside. So, but you're right.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Yeah.
And
But anyway.
I think that's why my fan base has grown so
Mhm.
much, because they've seen me when I'm out at events or at the malls when I set up, and people approach me. As an officer before, my friends would tell me, man, you're so intimidating. You're so unapproachable. I would have thought this would be unapproachable, but
Unapproachable.
no, people flock and they want pictures. And the kids, I usually always have a bowl of little lollipops. And at first they're kind of like, and then I'll give them a lollipop and then they'll grab it and they'll be like, oh, she is nice. Oh, we don't have to be scared, and and then they'll want pictures with me. So I just
Mhm.
think it's amazing because once people see who I genuinely am, uh, they flock to me and they want to be around, and I think that's amazing.
Right, right. Henry, you got another question before we wrap it up? We're hitting the
Uh,
hitting the hour mark.
just one, if you could tell us a little bit, you bring up your children. You said something before we started about your son Julian and his journey. You want to elaborate on that real quick?
Yes, please. Yes.
Yeah, sure. So my son Julian, he was like the mastermind to, Jessica the Nun. He produced a lot of my videos when we first started. amazing videos, and he did a lot of the footage, did a lot of the work. And anyway, he set off on a journey from Dallas, and he said, "Mom, I have a journey I need to do." And I actually helped him build his cross. So he has a cross, and he's walking across to Washington, and he's been 4 years sober, and he's just, he's finding himself, but he just felt like this was his calling. And so he
Mm,
took off, and he's done, I guess, like about 600 and something miles. He's in Mount Juliet, Tennessee,
mm,
as we speak, and he's headed to Washington. But he's had so many great adventures. He's had some kind of he did get poison ivy and little things like that, but it doesn't stop him. He stops and helps people. He talks to people. People have been so generous and kind. They've sent him money, on his Cash App. They've given him water and stuff. So me personally, as a mother, I didn't worry about it because I know he's in God's hands, and I trust the Lord. If the Lord said for him to do this, then that was his calling, and so I have no fear in his journey. But yeah, definitely, if you guys want to check it out, his TikTok is at Believe Julian, and you can see his videos and his postings. He's a very motivational speaker.
mm.
He's what really has changed me in a lot of ways, which is kind of funny because he's my son, but he just helped me see the positivity and just the love of life and how to be grateful every day just for waking up, just to see the sunrise, just to all these little things to be grateful for. So um yeah, if you guys want to check him out, I'd appreciate, I'm sure he would love to hear from you guys. And like I said, he was a big part of Jessica the Nun, and if it wasn't for him, I don't know if I'd even be here talking to you guys right now.
Wow.
Wow.
So, someone wanted to view your stuff as well. What social media platforms are you on?
So my biggest one is TikTok. That's where I have most of my videos, but I did start probably like 6 months into it. I started posting more on Instagram. Um,
Mhm,
I do have Facebook, but I do share on there, but that's more like family and friends.
mm.
That's where you'll see, a lot of people, this is another question they always ask, what do you really look like? Like this. No. Um, I tell them you don't want to see what I really look like because that's scary. But no, I that's where you'll see me as my regular self, with my family or posting with my kids or something. So Facebook is more kind of uh for family and friends and people I've gotten to know. Um and then what I've been doing this past year, I've so grateful that I've gotten to meet a lot of people. I've now I've gotten to meet you guys. Just people in this. I didn't realize how big the horror scene was until I started doing this, and I started getting invites. And can you come there and can you come here? And I'm like, wow, I didn't realize how huge it was. Um, but yeah, so I do have TikTok is my main one. That's where you see a lot of my videos where we first started. Jessica the Nun. And then I do have a Instagram. I think TikTok is Jessica underscore the underscore nun. And
Okay.
the same with Instagram. And then my Facebook is just Jessica Nunn. You can find me under Jessica Nunn. They didn't let me put the, I don't know why,
With
but
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So it's just Jessica Nunn. But yeah, you can find me on there.
Okay.
Uh, Also, too, you can find me there to get information. Just DM me on information for any appearances and stuff.
Oh, cool. Well, awesome. Well, I'm gonna let Henry wrap up. But just want to say thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us. I think it was a great conversation, and I think you're a wonderful person for
Thank
sure
you. Appreciate that.
for doing what you do. Yes. I'll let Henry have the last words here and kind of land the plane and hold tight after we shut down, and we'll do a quick recap.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Uh, Jessica, the door is open anytime you want to come back on our show and chat with us. The door and the invite is always there. It's always open. Uh,
Thank you so much.
No problem. With that, guys, that's our show for this evening. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up, land the plane, and we will see you in the next video.